What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I am back with another review of Growing Up Hip Hop LA. This is season 6, episode 7, and let's just go ahead and get into it. So, we actually start the episode off with Boogie and Savannah on this little date. So, Boogie invites her over to his Airbnb, and she is not interested in this man. You can already tell from the first time she saw Boogie, she did not like him because he's not the rich nigga that she's looking for. Okay? So while they're on this date or whatever, she thought that they were going out, but he's like, no, we gonna stay in. So he prepared some food. I was disgusted because he kept picking them shrimp up with his fingers. But anyways, she's like, nah, we can just go ahead and order Popeyes. I'm like, you so bougie. And you talking about you want the Chanel, the Gucci, Prada. I'm sorry, what's the Carly Rae song? Louis Gucci Prada. Pop them tags. Sorry, that came into my head. But you want all the designer stuff, but you want to eat Popeyes? Girl, get out my face with this. So, Savannah actually mentions that Twist is having a little party because he's launching a slipper house shoe line. And Boogie's like, oh, well, I'm not going to be going because I'm not going to be in LA. I'm going to be in Vegas or whatever. And that is one thing about this show that's so annoying because half of the time the cast is not in a city where this show is being filmed, technically. Like, you're supposed to be in LA, but we keep seeing y'all in Vegas, in New York, in Miami. Like, just stay where y'all are supposed to be. Because last time I checked, I'm pretty sure that JoJo and Denise are mainly on the East Coast. However, when it's time to film this show, they stay in LA. So, another thing that they talked about was what's going on with Brianna. So, Boogie's point of view is that, she has been drinking a lot, and he went to her house so that he could have this intervention. And he's like, well, the crazy thing is, she actually had an intervention for me. And she's like, oh, well, what was your issue? And he's like, oh, pills and lean. So, now that's another red flag for her. It's like, girl, you wanted to be out of this thing with Boogie. Let's call a thing a thing. But also, him having his background of possible domestic abuse, his drug use, yeah, that is a lot. Like, Boogie, let's not lie. You do come with a lot of baggage. And even though you may not do those things anymore, that shit is still a part of you. Now, I was a bit thrown off when he was like, when am I going to be able to rub your toes or something like that? And she's basically like, when you can afford to take me to Chanel and Gucci and all the high-end stores. And he's like, oh, so when I start tricking. He then proceeds to ask her, like, well, how you getting all the money? Because clearly you know something that everybody else on this show don't. And, of course, Savannah does not answer the question. According to her, she's just where the money resides. Okay, girl. So, we next see a conversation between Eric and his wife, Aaliyah. And, of course, what are they talking about? TT. And TT's marriage. And her situation. And Aaliyah is like, wait, the white boy is cheating? And I'm just like, girl. But anyways, Eric has to break it down to her how all this mess has started. It's been passed down from person to person to person. And everybody's out here playing telephone. My only thing is that the way everybody is spreading this like wildfire blows my mind because nobody knows if it's true or not. Hell, and TT don't even come around enough for y'all to be talking about her, to be honest. So we also see Savannah and Creed, they're also in the car because they're also on the way to Twist's little party. And they're just talking about how Creed is actually Savannah's +1 because Twist did not invite her after their little spat at the anniversary party. But then they also talk about how Savannah and Boogie, they have gone out on a date. But Savannah is like, he ain't my type of man. I like rich men. I just don't understand her entitlement at all because I don't even know who taught her to be this way. Like, is it the music that's teaching her this? Is her mother teaching her this? I don't understand it. So, these ladies also briefly talk about the TT situation. Of course, production has them talk about that. And they're just like, well, we hope that Vanessa, told her and that the whole situation is going to be deaded with her family and all this stuff. And I'm just like, little do y'all know, She doesn't know y'all. Y'all had her name in y'all mouth. Maybe she has a problem with y'all as well. But okay. Alright, so then after that, we see this clip of Boogie talking to Sam, right? And here's the funny thing about Sam in Egypt. Have you guys noticed that nobody else films with them? Besides the fact that they're in Vegas, nobody films with them besides Pep. Like, you have Savannah who will film with them, and then you also have Boogie. But that's it. Nobody else is messing with them like that. At this point, I would be glad if they got off the show. But anyways, the whole point of this conversation was Boogie saying how he's no longer interested in Savannah because she's way too young for him, because he's almost 30 and baby girl's like 20 years old and she's childish. So we see that's not going to happen. And then here we go talking about TT yet again, because Boogie mentioned how, oh, I need to get a passport so I can go to TT's wedding. And here goes Sam talking about TT yet again because he loves to keep her name on the tip of his tongue. I'm over it at this point. Alright, let's just go ahead and move on to this party that Twist had. I mean, I guess you could call it a party, because it was supposed to be the launch of his slippers, his house shoes. I'm like, okay, cool. So people start to show up, and you have JoJo and Denise, they arrive or whatever. And right when they get there, you have Lil Easy and his wife talking about so is the wedding still happening? What's going on with the TT situation? And I'm just like, can y'all please get some business besides TT? So, one thing I will say is that Vanessa looked great. TT looked great, considering she just had a baby. Vanessa, she looked so good in that jumpsuit. I was like, okay, girls, y'all are doing it. So, here's the thing about TT being there, though. Because Vanessa noticed off bat that, like, she kind of had her guards up. So, she still feels like TT feels some type of way about her. But I don't think that TT feels any way about Vanessa. I think she really is pissed off at Egypt and Peppa for spreading this rumor amongst this cast and it being televised. So, then we have Eric rolling up on her, talking about some, oh, yeah, where's the baby? Where's your man at? Excuse me? Y'all act like her husband or fiance is always around when he's not. He's always MIA. So don't act like he needs to be at this little event. Now, I will say that when it came to JoJo asking her, like, oh, where's Sean? When she just like, she said he wasn't there. And he's like, oh, so I know he out here working or whatever. Like, the way that JoJo responded versus Eric, very different. Because Eric was like, TT, what's going on? And it's like, dude, now she knows that you also know. Like, how do you even know that all this rumor and gossip has been spreading around? You know what I'm saying? Because what? This was a messy situation. So, we have Twist and Cree. I guess they've come to an understanding because, as we know, between what happened with them at the anniversary party, them going back and forth, and him being super disrespectful, now this is his event, and she's like, no, I'm not putting on these shoes, but you can take my heels off and maybe I'll put the shoe on. And he's like, nah, that's a big old foot. And I'm just like, why are you always disrespecting her like this? Like, Twist, just say, no, thank you. I'm not going to take your shoe off, but I do want you to wear my product. So we actually see that this is a paint party. So Brianna shows up as well. And I must say, I love whenever I see Brianna on the screen. Let me just get to the point where they were painting, right? So they have to paint, and it's all the ladies are painting. And when it comes to doing their art, I will say that I did like what's her name? Denise's little design, because she used a lot of fun colors. However, when it came to Cree, I was like, ooh, girl, this turned dark real quick, because she had like a heart, but it was like scratched all up or whatever. And I'm just like, girl, this was supposed to be a fun little activity. It just got a little too deep. So then she has to, of course, open up about her situation with Luke yet again. I'm so glad that the conversation with Luke happened this episode, because I'm like, I can't have you drag this out anymore. You've talked about it a lot. One thing I did love was seeing Brianna have pointers to all the ladies who were painting, because as we know, she is a painter herself. I mean, honestly, I wish that she would have painted something, because I would have loved to see what she came up with. Alright, so then we get this cute moment with Brianna and TT and Twist. They're just having a conversation. And I will say, I really do enjoy Brianna and TT's friendship. Brianna says that she will be hosting a dinner and she hopes to invite everybody. I feel like the mess is about to come on this next episode when we get to that party. But let's just go ahead and move on. So I find it funny that the reason why Brianna wants to have this party is because, a little birdie must have told her that, people think that you are a little off-putting. So when she says off-putting, though, why is Twist over here talking about, so what, you don't eat pudding? He thinking that she's talking about the food. Like, Twist is hilarious. It's funny that we have Twist, Brianna, and TT having a conversation. They're just having a good old time. Well, across the way at the table, everybody is talking about TT, talking about so Vanessa, did you tell her yet? Oh, is there even going to be a wedding? All this stuff. And Vanessa is like, I'm not saying anything else about this situation. I'm definitely not talking about what me and TT talked about. And I'm just like, you know what? I do like Vanessa, because she is not trying to get involved with the mess that Savannah and Cree and Aaliyah and all these people want to talk about, because at the end of the day, Vanessa is her friend, and she realizes that, like, this is a messed up situation. And I also found it hilarious that Twist was going to put out everybody, but TT and Brianna could stay because the other group of people was too loud. I was like, oh gosh, Twist is hilarious. So we end up flashing over to the other table, though, and Cree brings up Savannah and Boogie. So you have Savannah talking about Boogie ain't my type of guy. So at this point, her and Eric go back and forth, and he realizes that Savannah is a gold digger. I feel like that's all facts right there. That is exactly who Savannah is showing us to be. Like, that is who that girl is. Of course, Boogie ain't gonna work out for her because she chasing after some, like, baller. Now, I will say that Eric had a good point in his confessional. He was talking about how, girl, how are you over here chasing after some rich man when what are you doing? Where's your money at? Where's your wealth? Because last time I checked, you have your little clothing line, but ain't nobody heard of it. And it's not out yet. So, girl, relax on that gold digging. So, of course, at some point, the group ends up bringing up Jamaica again. And TT just kind of sticks to herself on that topic because she basically doesn't want to say anything before she talks to Sean in person. So let's just go ahead and move on over to Cree. She's talking to her mom, I believe. They're in the gym talking about how she's going to meet up with her dad, Luke. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and move on. So we actually see TT and Sean lets us know that, after all this stuff has come out to TT that they're spreading these rumors, he flew back to LA. Okay, cool. So they talk about how, these rumors got started, and you have Sean who's like, I really wish that your aunt would grow up instead of being so involved in the mess, talking about Peppa. And I'm just like, I absolutely agree. These women are too old to be in all this mess. So you also have him telling her, like, listen, I know that we pushed our wedding back because of COVID, but what we're not going to do is push our wedding back or not have it televised just because Egypt and Sam and Peppa has a problem. That right there, we're not doing. So another thing that I found interesting about this conversation, though, is the fact that you have what's her name, TT. She really wants to, like, go off and she really wants to cut somebody out, but Sean clearly keeps her calm and lets her know that there are other ways to handle things. And I'm like, okay, now I see why her and Sean are together and that they're getting married. But besides that, let's just go ahead and move on to this conversation that Cree had with her dad. First of all, the fact that she showed up and she had her half-sibling there. Well, not she did, but he had her half-sibling there. And, of course, her cousin was there, right? Here's my problem. Why did they have this discussion just one-on-one? Because on any other show, when there's a conversation that needs to be had, those extra people move along. So therefore, her cousin and her sister need to move along and let them have this conversation. Because at one point, Cree is just trying to understand what was the breakdown of their relationship. Because they haven't really talked to each other in like 4 years. So she's just trying to figure out from his perspective what happened. Here comes her sister talking about I don't think that there is... Listen, I didn't listen to anything that girl had to say after that. This was not about you. All because you may have a good relationship with your dad does not mean that Cree does. Now, when it comes to Luke, here's the thing. Honestly, there are a lot of men, specifically black men, who were born in whatever era that was that Luke was born in. They all have the same damn mentality. Because I don't know what it is about men of that era. When it came to taking care of their kids, they went M-I-fucking-A, okay? But then they have the audacity to want their children to come running after them. I don't understand that at all. And what's crazy is that we always talk about how, it starts from people's childhood, right? A lot of those tired-ass men, they came from two-parent households. Their daddies were in their lives. For some reason, when they became adults, they decided, oh yeah, I'm about to go sleep with this woman, that woman, that woman, that woman, have a bunch of damn kids, but I ain't about to really take care of none of them. Now, y'all, I could go on a whole video, seriously, on that topic. But we're going to get back on Luke. Because Luke said one thing that I said, okay, that is a true fact, but not for your case. He said, the kids are supposed to, check on their parents and see how their parents are doing. I said, you know what? That is a true fact. Because once you become an adult, you start to find your own way. You kind of move in a direction that you want your life to go. And you start making new friends, get a new career, all this stuff. And then you have to circle back and be like, oh, let me go check and see what my mom doing. Let me see how my dad's feeling. Yes, that is the normal thing for people to do. However, this is not a normal situation. You have never set up the foundation for your kids to even feel comfortable enough to come check on you. Okay? So I don't know why you're sitting up here playing in Cree's face like this as if you were dad of the year. Like, nigga, what year were you dad of the year? When she was like 1? When she was, a newborn? When were you dad of the year? And here's the thing. The fact that he got upset because she mentioned Ted being her dad, because that is the man who raised her. Nigga, do not sit up here and get mad because this girl luckily had another black man stand up and say, you know what, these ain't my kids, but let me tell you something, I love her mother just enough to love these kids as well. Because that's another thing about men from that type of era. They have the tendency to love the woman, but they don't give a damn about them kids. And again, that's a whole other topic that I could definitely go in on. Let me know if y'all want that video. So, I just find it so interesting, though, that he got so upset. It was like, well, if you want to call him daddy, let him be the person that's your father. Let him be the one that you reach out to. And it's like, dude, she's trying to build a relationship with you. There is no problem with her having a good situation with her stepdad at all. There's nothing wrong with that. Because honestly, this whole thing was Luke's ego and pride being hurt because another man stepped up and did something that he could not do. And that was be a great parent to his kids. Now, let me know what you guys thought about this episode, because that's pretty much where it ended for me. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.